Ever since I was a kid, I've always wanted to see the world and meet new people. As I grew up, I began to embrace new cultures, ethnicities, and ways of living. These experiences have given me more happiness than any other experiences in my life. Although I love these new cultures, I also saw sadness, displacement, hunger, and all kinds of suffering. As I furthered my education of the world, I saw that there were many people trying to help the suffering to stop. When I first learned about these people and their organizations, I knew that I wanted to be a part of it. To better understand how I can help, I took the liberty of interviewing two people who have started and currently run their own nonprofit organizations devoted to humanitarian aid. Throughout this video, they will explain each essential step in starting one of these life-changing organizations.
They're devoted to an issue. So like, I'm on the board now for Community Suicide Prevention. It's a new nonprofit in Idaho Falls. So I'm on their board. So they're devoted to suicide prevention, right? It's the Upper Valley Child Advocacy Center.
Mm-hmm.
They're devoted to child advocacy, and so they do forensic interviews if a child's been abused, and they do that kind of, that's what they do, and they're really good at it, you know. There's the Family Crisis Center. And so you find these nonprofits that are issue specific. As just going in, you got to be really honest with yourself about how committed am I to this, because it's going to take a lot of work. People have no idea how much work it takes to start and keep a nonprofit going.
So working for a nonprofit, it's work. It's whether it's office or those type of things.
Taking the time to lay this foundation well is a really big deal. You have these bylaws about how you operate, and then you're bound to those. Like, you're legally bound to them once you've developed them. It's a process. So like, you file, and it takes 2 to 3 years to really become a full-fledged nonprofit that's acknowledged by the IRS.
Most of it's work. So it's legal work, paperwork, red tape, government.
Now, another why to consider when you're choosing your board. A, how much power am I giving them? Who am I choosing and why? Is the vision the same? Like, are the people on your board, do they care about what you care about? Mm-hmm. You also want expertise. Like, do the people on my board really know about this issue, or did I just choose my friends? You can fill out, and it doesn't cost very much if you do it on a state level, and then you can be kind of a nonprofit within the state. And that allows you to advertise as such and so forth. Or you can do federal. And when you do the federal paperwork, it's more expensive. It takes a couple years to be a fully fledged nonprofit. You can set up accounts with businesses like Staples or OfficeMax or Alpha Graphics as a nonprofit, so you're not charged tax.
That's awesome.
You know, you don't have to pay the sales tax, and there's a lot of things related to being a nonprofit that are really advantageous.
None of us can benefit personally from the profit of the business, but we do operate a profit because we have to. Because if we didn't operate a profit and didn't have money, extra money, we would cease to exist. Most of our benefits or our salary and stuff come from the application fee, and then also the fees that the volunteers pay. They pay program fees, and those program fees help fund the office, help pay for the utilities here, the telephone, help pay for their background checks and those type of things. Probably the biggest challenges is the finances, the constant need, the needs of the children change. It's hard to predict. It's just an ongoing thing. Ever since OSO's been around, it's finding those who are willing to support and contribute.
There's going to be laws that affect what you can do. I went to Nigeria and I did some stuff there. They've invited me to go back multiple times. Nigeria, between the time that I was there and when I would have gone back, had changed their laws, and they would not allow nonprofits to come in and do those. They'd have these nonprofits that would come in and they would drill a well, and their bore wells is what they're called, or do a bore well. But the people wouldn't know how to take care of it. So the nonprofit would come in, they'd do a bore well, they'd leave. People don't know how to take care of it. Something breaks down with the well, they don't know how to fix it. The water would actually become more contaminated because because they wouldn't know how to fix the well. And so then there's a hole that goes down to the water supply, and it's becoming contaminated. So often when you look at a social problem, you need collaboration. But what happens so frequently in any world, not just the nonprofit world, but you find that you get kind of siloed off. So you're doing a lot of work in this area, but you don't necessarily know what's going on here. But if you could combine, you'd get a lot more done in relation to the issue.
Go into business, take business classes, because it is a business. Most people who want to start a nonprofit don't know anything about business. There's nothing like being with the kids, and it doesn't matter. You don't need to know a language. The children don't care. They just know love. They know someone who cares about them.
To be able to be useful, even in a tiny way, when something matters as much as a life, it's like, oh my gosh, I love this. It's when you feel like there's this human contact and you're doing something. Like, I don't have to get you to buy anything. I don't have to change the way you think in a way that's sort of semi-questionable. I can just give you something good and listen to you, and you've given me something good, and we both walk away better every time. I love it. I love that. And I would try as hard as I could to create opportunities for students to have that, because that stuff's transformative for your heart, I think, and also for your head, but it's transformative, even if it's in a tiny way. It's just a big deal.